Hey, this is Scott Oliver. I'm a liberty activist in Florida, and I'm here with Austin Petersen. You might recognize him from the Freedom Watch with Judge Napolitano. He was the producer for Judge's show. He still runs all of his social media. Yeah. And working for who now?
FreedomWorks.
FreedomWorks, one of the directors. And we just left the Freedom Pack, which is FreedomWorks event here in Orlando. They had Judge Napolitano, Glenn Beck, a bunch of other people, and Connie Mack. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Ron Paul endorsed Connie Mack about a week ago, 10 days ago. You can go to libertypack.com and click on endorsements if you'd like to see that. And we were talking earlier about it, and I forgot to say, he was introduced by the judge in the audience today as the right half of his brain.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Oh, it was absolutely a pleasure. But Judge Napolitano and I worked together for a few years now, and we worked together to get his show on the air. And then once the show got picked up by Fox, he brought me on as his producer and his writer, and we just clicked because we believe so much the same things. And we have differences of opinions on certain things, like some libertarians always do. But he said today, he's like, this is the right half of my brain because he and I agree on almost everything, and I always give him new ideas and try and push him to accept different things that certain libertarians are a little bit on the cutting edge of. But as
Second Amendment?
Yeah, well, he's definitely on board with the Second Amendment.
Go watch this video of the judge tonight. He brought up the Second Amendment. One of our pet peeves as libertarians, if a politician, a statist, brings up the Second Amendment, they always say it's for hunting. Well, we know by researching the Founding Fathers that it's for hunting.
It's not for
tyrants.
It's for hunting tyrants. Yeah, absolutely.
And he mentioned that tonight.
The Second Amendment has absolutely nothing to do with hunting. It has everything to do with shooting at a government that is tyrannical.
Hardcore. And Austin might have a little bit to do with bringing the judge a little more and more towards some of these ideas.
Well, not those, but just different ideas about where do natural rights come from. The judge has a natural rights position that comes from a period of the divine. The judge believes that our natural rights come from our Creator, and that Creator is God. And I'm a secular libertarian, so I believe that our rights come from nature, are inherent as part of our nature, humanity. And so we sort of did a little bit of back and forth on that while we worked together. And he now says, whether you believe our rights come from our Creator or whether we are the highest order as a matter of spontaneous order of evolution, then we still have these rights. So he now acknowledges that as sort of absolutely as equal to the same definition of natural rights. So it's really interesting to hear him say that now because we sort of. Right, so the liberty message, it unites us. It doesn't divide us. Whether you're secular or whether you're religious, we can all come together under this idea of free markets and liberty because liberty serves all of our purposes. It helps us all. Exactly.
But another big thing they're doing is they're supporting candidates that they think are good liberty candidates. I think you've probably been on with FreedomWorks.com.
Right.
And there's a lot of liberty people in that group now. So
there is a lot of libertarians, a lot of Ron Paul libertarians like myself at FreedomWorks.
So keep an open mind about them guys. Check them out. And they're supporting Connie Mack in Florida. He's a liberty candidate on a lot of issues. And Connie had agreed to do this interview as well. And but he had to all but tonight afterwards. I'm sure it was some campaign thing. Maybe the next stop I'll get him to talk to. But Austin and I were talking about it, and a lot of us have reservations about Connie Mack. And I did too, and I still do on certain issues. But I actually looked at his voting record on, for example, the Patriot Act, which is one of the judge's favorite topics when he speaks. Every time he knocks it out of the park. He's read it 3 times, cover to cover.
Absolutely.
And maybe you can share some thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Connie Mack is probably my favorite Republican that's running right now.
House or Senate, or?
Yeah, for House or Senate, because I love Ron Paul. I'm a 100% Ron Paul libertarian. I'm a non-interventionist on foreign policy. I am very strong on civil liberties when it comes to all of the issues that libertarians believe in that are not just fiscal policies, that are civil liberties policies. Connie Mack is that type of a Republican, and he does very well at blending in with regular Republicans from his rhetoric. If you just listen to Connie Mack's rhetoric, you would think, oh, this is a typical neocon because he's speaking out against Chavez and he's speaking out against Iran. But, you know, if you analyze that just on its own level, well, you know, Iran, they're statists. So is Chavez. You know, these are socialist SOBs, you know, and we have a lot of reason to hate them. But when you look at Connie Mack's voting record on the Patriot Act, like you said...
He got elected in 2005.
And he has always voted against the renewals of the Patriot Act, which to me, that's the thing that separates...
Under a lot of pressure.
Yes, absolutely. That's what separates real libertarians from, you know, run-of-the-mill Republicans. But it's not just the Patriot Act. Connie Mack came on my show, Freedom Watch, with a judge, and he actually defended WikiLeaks. Okay? There was only like maybe 3 or 4 Republicans who actually supported Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, right? That doesn't mean you have to like Julian Assange or think that it's right to, you know, like necessarily leak national security secrets. Even if you think that's wrong, it doesn't matter because it's still free speech. Connie Mack defended Julian Assange and WikiLeaks free speech on national television on our show. And for me, when you come down to it, when you're voting against the Patriot Act, when you say that even if I disagree with what you say, I will fight to the death, your right to say it, I will get behind you 150%, because that is where, to me, the rubber meets the road. So that's why, as a libertarian, big L libertarian, not a Republican, I'm a libertarian. I will get behind Connie Mack as a Republican running for Senate, and I will be glad to do so.
Some people might argue he's not 100% sound on his philosophy, but there's other examples of that, like Gary Johnson. I'm sorry, I've talked to him several times, and he can't really make anything other than a utilitarian argument. But I think, you know, that's a great sign. Anybody watching this should be leaning forward and saying, well, that's a good start. Now what? Well, he voted against the debt ceiling increase.
Absolutely, and not a lot of Republicans did. One of our favorite Republicans, Alan West, voted to raise the debt ceiling. He didn't stand by it for that, but Connie Mack did. You know, if you look at the voting records of these Republicans, there is a very small minority, maybe 12 to 14 in the House, that actually support our ideals. And if you analyze their voting records, not just what they say, because you can't listen to
what people make the argument. I watched the debate. I didn't like it. Well, now we're looking at debates.
Yeah.
No, the liberty movement is about substance.
I don't listen to what politicians say. I only listen to what they do. I only look at what they do. If you look at what Connie Mack, Republicans like Connie Mack are doing, then you will see that there is an insurgency of libertarian Republicans within
Mike Lee, Jim DeMint,
Mike Lee, Jim DeMint, Rand Paul, Connie Mack, Ron Johnson. So I would strongly urge any Ron Paul Republicans who have been on the fence about Connie Mack, please get out the vote for
Florida, where it matters.
Where it matters. Please get out the vote for Connie Mack. Because listen, I had a conversation privately.
If he wins, guys.
This is an important story. I had a conversation with Mike Lee, one-on-one, backstage at Fox News one day. And he was telling me about how he got elected. And
Mike Lee is the closest to Rand Paul. He said, I won't vote for anything that I can't explain to James Madison himself.
Right. Senator Mike Lee was backstage. And he was telling me about how he got elected. He was telling me about how close his race was.
Amazing.
And then he said, well, but then I got endorsed by Ron Paul. And all of a sudden, all of the young people...
Darcy Van Orden and
all of the young...
Right.
Because what happens... This is the last few weeks before the campaign. I hope this video gets out in time. These are the crucial days before the campaign when you need the boots on the ground. Ron Paul Republicans...
We're going to be doing a statewide conference call with them as well.
Ron Paul Republicans are the boots on the ground. We are those grassroots people. We are the ones who will go door to door. And Mike Lee told me, he said, Austin, if Ron Paul had not endorsed me, I would not have won. Because all of a sudden, all the young people came out and walked the streets and went door to door and got out the vote, and I won. And that was what made the difference. If Ron Paul...
It's close enough right now. The last poll is 1%.
And Ron Paul has officially endorsed Connie Mack.
Yep. Go to libertypac.com and click on endorsements and read it yourself.
So if you're
familiar with his position on NDAA, I'm pretty sure he voted against that.
I'm pretty sure he voted against that as well.
He
voted against those as well. So if you're a Ron Paul Republican, if you're a libertarian, small L libertarian, big L libertarian, Ron Paul Republican, whatever you consider yourself, please get out the vote for Connie Mack because he is a sincere libertarian.
Let's mention the Mack Penny plan too. You familiar with that?
Yes, I am. Okay. Yeah. So Connie Mack has a plan. It's endorsed by Senator Rand Paul. What it does is it cuts 1% across the board from all government programs.
1 penny a year.
1 penny a year from all government programs.
$5.
And exactly, and out of $1. and it has a plan to balance the budget in 5 years. So if we were to have a Senator Connie Mack in the budget in the Senate, along with Mike Lee and Jim DeMint, Rand Paul, we would be doing ourselves an enormous favor for the cause of liberty. So I am sincerely behind Connie Mack. I fully endorse him, and I hope that if you're
I hate the argument, but otherwise you got 6 more years than Nelson, and he's within 1 point, 1 poll right now.
Yes, absolutely.
With a month to go.
So if you are a Ron Paul Republican or Libertarian, please get out the vote for Senator Connie Mack, because he is absolutely on the side of liberty, and I endorse him 100%.
And that is that's one of only 3 plans that was introduced this year that were real cuts. The other 2 are Ron's and Rand's.
Exactly. So when it comes to actually cutting the budget, Mitt Romney increases the budget.
Aren't Paul Ryan cuts to the increase?
Right. This is not a Paul Ryan budget, right? Where you're trying to save Medicare, right? You're cutting from absolutely everything, all the way across the board. That's what Connie Mack is proposing. Right. That's what Connie Mack is proposing. Whether he's successful or not, it doesn't matter, because having in the Senate, he can bolster the efforts of Libertarian Republicans like Rand Paul and Mike Lee and Jim DeMint.
And there's still reservations on his foreign policy, but if he's talked, I think he's been very open-minded about cutting foreign aid. You know, giving rich people, taking money from poor people in rich countries and giving it to rich people in poor countries.
And let's be honest, who likes Chavez? Does any Libertarian like Hugo Chavez? No. But if you look at Connie Mack's site, you'll see him talking smack on Hugo Chavez. Well, guess what? So do I. So do any Libertarian should. And Iran, absolutely. They are a theocratic, fascist regime. So nobody should be supporting the Iranian government, right? So if you hear his rhetoric and you think, oh, knee-jerk reaction, he's a neocon, look at his voting record, because when the rubber meets the road, Connie Mack is a real libertarian.
Yeah. And that's why someone like me that's involved and been for a while is open-minded to doing stuff like this and going out to events and getting my picture taken with him, is we need to, time's a waste him.
Yeah.
And
I'm not voting for Mitt Romney.
We can
just so you know, this is
Austin
Petersen. I'm voting for Gary Johnson.
This is how this conversation got started. We both were like, I can support somebody that's a net positive, like Rand talks about. I'm willing to compromise.
I'm willing to compromise.
If it's a little less instead of a lot less, but I won't compromise
I will
for a
not
little
compromise,
more instead of a lot more.
I will not compromise to increase government in whatsoever, in any way, shape, or form. I will compromise on a net cut of government, but I will not compromise to increase government. So I will not be voting for Mitt Romney, but I will be voting for the Republican House and Senate races.
And probably the one other argument we should address is Harry Reid. He held up the audit the Fed vote. We probably could have got it passed. I talked to Nelson's office. They said they would have voted for it if it came to a vote, but they were all scared after the Dodd-Frank bill of the lobbyists for the banks, and they got deep pockets, obviously. So we need to get a better person, even if it's somebody like Rand's guy, McConnell. Even if it ends up him, which I hope it won't, but anybody but Reid, maybe we can get a vote in the Senate too.
Right. Well,
we've established it'll pass the House.
The thing is that Mitch McConnell has always been a big government Republican. A lot of Libertarians were very angry recently because the campaign manager for Ron Paul, Bessie Benton, was hired by Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, interesting.
It was interesting, but I actually saw that as a good thing, and I'll tell you why. Politicians mostly don't have principles. They go where the wind blows. If we blow...
Activism 101.
Right. So if libertarians are blowing the wind in our direction, and Mitch McConnell is coming that way, that means that we're winning. So we want to show these big government Republicans that the way forward isn't big government anymore. It's limited government. And that's up to us. That's up to people like
they want to stay in office. They really enjoy being
they do.
Right.
And if they think that the only way that they can stay in office is for voting against things like the Patriot Act, voting against things like big spending budgets, opposing Mitt Romney presidency, then they're going to do it. But the only way that they're going to do it is if they think that they can count on the support of their limited government constituency. That has to be us. We have to build our base. We have to grow our movement, and we have to continue our fight. Stay principled.
Or they'll vote for audit the Fed just to make us go away.
Right. Exactly.
Stay principle. What else?
Exactly. So principles and all the things that we care about.
It's close. I mean, it's only a few weeks left. There's only so much we can do, but sine waves. phone banking,
Get out the
spreading the
vote,
word,
door to
social
door.
media.
Door-to-door
We own
campaigning.
social media.
FreedomWorks has a door-to-door campaigning, get out the vote tool that you can use in your community. It's called Freedom Connector. So if you go to freedomworks.org and you log on to Freedom Connector, we have all the tools that you can use for your smartphone, your iPhone. Get online and you can find out where your voters are in your district. Listen, sign waving is great, but there's nothing like going door to door in your community. Knock on the door, say, hey, we really want your vote, and give them some literature and talk to your neighbors, because that's really what it's all about. Don't get online, be a Facebook warrior. We got enough of those already. We need more people to get out there and really talk to people and convince them to vote.
And if you feel like this is the right thing for you to do, I recommend you go to some campaign stops and wear a Ron Paul t-shirt or hat.
Sure.
That's what I've been doing.
Absolutely.
Smiling, being nice, and reminding them that Ron Paul just endorsed them.
Ron Paul endorsed Connie Mack.
And there's a great chance that Rand could end up down here touring with him.
Absolutely.
I don't know about Ron, but maybe. And you go out and say hi to Rand and keep things moving in the right direction. If he does win, we've got a foot in the door with a pro-liberty guy, and he'll agree with us on a lot of stuff. And you go look at his voting record. Not everything's fantastic, but most stuff is great on guns, great on
civil liberties.
Civil liberty is fantastic.
Economics.
Yeah, real budget cuts.
Yes.
There's nobody other than Ron and Rand that proposed a budget with real cuts.
In the House of Representatives and the Senate, there's Rand Paul, there's Ron Paul, there's Mike Lee, Jim DeMint, and right after that, it's Connie Mack.
So anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Liberty.